10.4.2, hyperbolas not centered at the origin. We're going to graph and write equations of hyperbolas. The standard form of the equation of a hyperbola with a center HK is as follows. The first version is if the parabola opens left and right, and then the second is if it opens up and down. The foci for a hyperbola, again, is c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Draw the hyperbola given by the following equation: x plus 2 quantity squared over 9 minus y minus 1 quantity squared over 4 equals 1. So the center, just like when we were doing ellipses, is going to have the opposite sign, -2, 1. Our vertices are going to be h plus or minus a k, since we have x as our positive term. And so we know that a is 3, because a squared is 9, so a is plus or minus 3. So we end up with -2 plus or minus 3, 1, which gives us 1, 1, and -5, 1. Oop, I should not have covertices on here. That's my typo. For our foci, we have our c squared equals a squared plus b squared. And so we know c squared is going to equal 9 plus 4, which gives us 13. So c is plus or minus the square root of 13. So that means our foci are going to be at -2 plus or minus the square root of 13, 1. So let's see what that looks like. We'll start by graphing our vertices. And then, of course, our foci. And the square root of 13 is approximately 3.6. And so we end up with foci somewhere in here, and then out here, and our hyperbola opens up something like this. Okay, next example. Y minus 2 squared over 25 minus x plus 4 quantity squared over 9 equals 1. Our center is -4, 2. Just because the y term is listed first does not mean we can put that in place of the x coordinate. H is still with x. Because the y's are listed first, this hyperbola is going to open up, down, which mean our vertices are going to be h and then k plus or minus a. A in this case is plus or minus 5. So we have -4, 2 plus or minus 5, which gives us the two vertices at -4, 7, and -4, -3. So let's go ahead and graph those. There's my -4, 7. There's my -4, -3. I don't know why I keep putting co-vertices on this particular lesson. There's not a minor axis, so there wouldn't be co-vertices. The foci, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. In this case, it's going to be 25 plus 9, which is 34. So c is equal to plus or minus the square root of 34, which means our foci is at -4, 2 plus or minus the square root of 34. But our hyperbola basically opens up and down something like this. Write an equation of the hyperbola that with vertices at -2, 1 and 2, 1. So 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, that passes through the point 5, 4. Okay. So if these are the two vertices, we know the center is going to be right in the middle of that, which means our center is 0, 1. So when we go to write our equation, also, since the vertices are on the same horizontal line, it means that it's opening left and right, which means it will be the x term that has the positive coefficient. So we're going to have x minus 0 squared minus y minus 1 squared. We know this is all going to be equal to 1. We have the a value. If we're going from -2 to 2, as far as our vertices for hyperbola, then a is plus or minus 2. So a squared would be 4. So we know it looks something like this. And then we know we have to put b squared underneath our y minus 1 term. So what do we do now? Well, we know the point 4, 5 is, or 5, 4 is on the hyperbola. So we can plug in 5, 4 for our x and y coordinate and solve for b squared. So we have 5 squared over 4 minus 4 minus 1 squared over b squared equals 1. So 25 fourths minus 9 over b squared equals 1. If I subtract 25 over 4 from both sides, I get negative 9 over b squared. And then the 1 would be 25 over 25, so we get negative 21 over 4. Multiply both sides by a negative, and you can make those both positive. And then we're going to cross multiply and solve from there. So we're going to have 36 is equal to 21 b squared, which means b squared is equal to 36 over 21. And that reduces to, let's see, 12 over 7. That's b squared, so we can put it straight in the equation the way that it is. And then going from here, we would have x squared over 4 minus the quantity y minus 1 squared over 12 sevenths equals 1.